Hello, everybody! I moved my little room around. Got a desk off Gumtree, which, if you live in a place where you don't have Gumtree, it's like a trading post. I don't know if Gumtree is just an Australian thing, or if you have it all over the world. Craigslist, that's the other one. That's the other one I was thinking about. I'm glad we sorted that out. I'm proud of us. I got a new desk off Gumtree for $20, and it's a corner desk, and I can fit 2 monitors on it, and I feel like more of a professional now, which feels strange. I'm not used to being a professional. I'm used to being a baby. But anyway, it's that time again. So, you know what that means. You've got to get a blankie. You've got to get a storytime companion. My storytime companion today is Pepper, but she's fallen asleep on the floor already. Have a lie down, find somewhere very cozy and comfortable, and get ready to have a story. Okay? Okay. Today we are up to Littleland Part 2, Chapter 14. Meanwhile, after the day's final diaper change, the little ones had been corralled upstairs and shown to their bedroom, which sat at the end of the hallway. The room was lit by lamplight, which bathed their sleeping quarters in a warm, cozy glow. It was constructed entirely from wooden panels, a thick plush rug spread out over the floorboards. Its ceilings were impossibly high, with a delicate filigree around the light fixture. Dark wooden bunk beds with tall railings lined the walls, each with its own unique patchwork quilt. Vanessa eagerly allowed her caretaker to tuck her in when the time came, as did Aidan. The little boy made an audible noise of comfort as he slid beneath the blankets, drawing the attention of Vanessa, who occupied the bottom bunk directly across from him. She giggled behind her hands. "Bed is good," declared Aidan, folding his arms behind his head. "Bed is very good," agreed Danny, to Vanessa's left. "Though I can't help but notice that none of us got the top bunk." Mickey sighed good-naturedly. "I put you in the first bed I came to, little dude." "Hey, yeah!" cried Aidan, his eyes springing open as he sat upright. "Miss Emily," she chuckled, guiding Aidan back down to lay prone with a gentle firmness that answered his question before he'd even asked it. "Yes, baby boy," she responded. "Nothing," sighed Aidan, a soft pout creasing his freckled features. "Top bunk's just cooler." "I know, sweetheart," said Miss Emily, running her palm over Aidan's curls. "I'll tell you what, if you're all very good tomorrow, we'll switch for the second night. Okay?" Vanessa was less than pleased to hear this. She'd never had the desire to take the top bunk in her entire life. She'd done it once at school camp at the behest of her friends. She'd proceeded to wet the bed and earn the nickname Golden for the rest of the year. The girl who had taken the shower never spoke to her again. Across the room, Danny spoke up. "Wait, but, wouldn't it benefit Piper and Frank more that way?" All heads in the room swiveled in Danny's direction. "Care to elaborate, young man?" asked Miss Mia, her silky voice causing the hairs on the back of his neck to stand on end. Still, he proceeded. "Alright, so if we're all good, then us three get the top bunk, right? But if others do bad things, then they get to stay up top? That's kind of a shitty deal." "I'm sorry. What was that?" asked Miss Mia, taking a step towards Danny's bunk. "Oh, said Danny, realizing his mistake far too late. "Oops." "Miss Mia gave you a direction, bud," said Mickey, his eyes flicking between his cringing charge and his colleague, who now had her hands on her hips, a stern expression on her face. "Should probably answer, hey?" "Thank you, Michael," said Mia, a touch of exasperated fondness in her voice. "No problem at all, bud." "It's true, honey," said Miss Mia, her tone softening. "I would like you to repeat yourself." "I said something like, if all of us are good, then we get the top bunk, but then if Piper and Frank do bad shit, then we still don't get the top bunk." "Oh, wait, no, I said it was a shitty deal," mumbled Danny. "I'm sorry. It's a habit." "A naughty habit," little one. Yes, ma'am. Danny began to toy with the fringe on his quilt. And as I'm sure you can guess, I'll have to tell the doctor about this. Danny sighed inwardly, but remained stoic, giving a soft nod. I know. I'm sorry. Good boy, said Mia, with a quiet smile that turned Danny's insides to knots. Feeling a tugging on her skirt, Mia turned around to her charge's tiny hand reaching through the bars. What is it, baby girl? Asked Mia, kneeling down to Vanessa's height. I don't want the top bunk, so I don't mind if everyone else has it for 2 nights, she whispered, as softly as she possibly could. Vanessa wasn't interested in drawing attention to her strong dislike of tall beds. Thank you, darling, said Miss Mia, smiling down upon Vanessa. That's very kind of you. Mia's head turned to Emily, who shared her expression. What do you say, little ones? Would you like to sleep up top? Danny looked excitedly towards Aiden, expecting to see unbridled joy in his eyes. They were closed. Already, Aiden James Phillips had fallen asleep. Aiden protested the next morning when Miss Emily entered the room to rouse the young charges from their slumber. It was warm in bed, and he'd been trying to pee. I don't want to get up, he whined, pulling the covers over his head. Can't I stay here? Can you stay in bed all day? Well, I mean, if you'd like to, said Miss Emily, kneeling beside Aiden's crib. His auburn head popped out from under the quilt. Really? Well, if you'd rather stay in bed than eat flapjacks and explore the forest with your friends, then I can't stop you, sweetie. Aiden was unable to suppress his joy, and he sprang to his feet in seconds. Miss Emily lifted him from the bed, chuckling. I had a feeling, she said, pressing her forehead against Aiden's. Now, let's go get you changed, little man. The atmosphere in the kitchen that morning was one of serenity, and last night's reconciliation was likely the cause. The little ones chatted animatedly in their high chairs, enjoying their breakfast. Only Danny seemed slightly muted, anticipating disciplinary action from the error in judgment he'd made before bed yesterday evening. Still, he made an effort to laugh good-naturedly at jokes and contribute to the conversation. The way Danny figured, his bad mood was his own responsibility, and it was unfair to take it out on the others. So, he smiled through the fear. He smiled through breakfast. The smile only vanished from his lips when the doctor unfastened him and hoisted him skyward. Danny wondered if he'd be spanked that morning, or if he'd need to wait till later. He hoped it wasn't the latter. Hey, said Danny, weakly, looking up at the doctor's profile. His head turned, and he locked eyes with Danny as they walked down the hall. Hello, little one, said Dr. Gilbert. Did you have a nice breakfast? Oh yeah, maple syrup, said Danny, with a tone of distracted appreciation. His attention was focused on the floorboards. I do hope you had some flapjacks with your syrup. Maybe 1 or 2, said Danny, smiling quietly. I'm in trouble, hey? Just a bit of trouble, but trouble nonetheless, the doctor replied, and Danny exhaled. Now, I've been given some details, but I would prefer to hear the story from your perspective. It's not much of a story. I accidentally swore, and I just have to, face it. That's an admirable take on the situation, little one, but I would still hear the full story, said the doctor, proceeding up the stairs. Okay, so last night we were put to bed, and I made some comment like, I noticed we're all on the bottom bunks. The doctor nodded as he reached the top of the stairs and continued down the hall. Then Aiden, man, you know how he is, like, he ran with it and he started asking why we couldn't be on the top bunk. And Miss Emily said, like, if we're all good, then we'd switch for tomorrow night so we'd all get a chance up top. Here, Danny hesitated. This was the point of no return. Once he finished the story, he was definitely going to be hauled across his caregiver's knee. He suppressed a shiver and continued, bravely, as the doctor reached for the doorknob to enter their destination. I said that it would have been in Piper and Frank's best interest to misbehave if their reward for good behavior was being moved to the bottom bunk, and that's when I swore. I said it was, a SHITTY deal. Ah, I see, said the doctor, stepping into the bathroom and crossing to the bank of sinks, where he turned on the faucet. He looked down reasonably upon the small curly-haired boy who was looking around the room and at the running tap in surprise. That's a fairly naughty word. Dr. Gilbert, why are we in here? The doctor dragged a small wooden stool out from under the sink and stepped onto it with a single one of his impossibly proportioned boots. He balanced Danny on his elevated knee, a forearm curled tightly around his midsection. To his mild embarrassment, Danny didn't register what was happening to him until the doctor reached for the pink bar of soap and began to lather it under the stream of water. Wait, said Danny, attempting to twist out of his guardian's arms. I'm afraid there's no time, little one. The others are waiting for us. It would be best for you to behave and be brave, my lad. Come now, be a good boy. I never thought I'd say this, but couldn't you spank me instead? Please, don't do this. Remind me again, Daniel. Why are we here today? Because I swore, but... And swear words are what? The doctor had finalized his lathering process and simply held the wet bar of soap in one hand, less than a foot from Danny's less than eager mouth. Danny sighed. Adult, they are filthy, little boy. So, the doctor indicated the soap. Open wide and behave for me, please. I'm not prepared to debate this further. After a steadying breath, Danny's lips parted to accept the cake of soap, which immediately overwhelmed his tongue with the tang of artificial rose. The doctor was methodical and worked to coat every inch of Danny's mouth. The little boy coughed and spluttered, finding the experience nothing less than wretched. He kicked his legs with every ounce of strength he possessed, finding this new form of discipline deeply unpleasant. Stop that, little boy. You're apt to fall off my knee. Stay still. Danny did not heed his caregiver's words. Something about this experience overrode his ability to behave, and he fought and kicked with everything he had. Finally, to Danny's relief, the doctor placed the bar in the soap dish on the sink. Danny didn't have time to celebrate for long, as soon he was being lifted and tilted slightly, exposing his thighs to a series of firm, stinging swats. When I say behave and be brave, what do I mean? Don't try to escape, hiccuped Danny, wiping his unrinsed mouth with the back of his hand. Don't kick. Be good. Exactly, young man, said the doctor, still firing short, stinging spanks to the little boy's thighs. Would you call that previous display good? No, sir. Not good. Naughty, sobbed Danny. Do you have anything you'd like to say to me, little one? I'm sorry, Dr. Gilbert. I'm sorry. At last, the blows stopped falling. The doctor rubbed the sting from Danny's thighs and allowed the boy to rinse his mouth out. Not completely, though, and the next few meals would bear the distinctive taste of imitation rose. Having bundled the sniffling boy and retreated into the hall, the doctor made his way down the stairs. He was seated on the couch and settled Danny in his lap. Danny blinked his eyes open and looked around him, sleepily. There he is, said Dr. Gilbert, fondly, and Danny flushed, tucking his chin close to his chest to hide a shy, burgeoning grin. I'm sorry I had to wash your mouth out, sweetheart, but I do hope you learned a valuable lesson. Danny nodded slowly. I don't think I'm gonna swear anymore. You don't think? Asked the doctor, a wry expression on his face. Well, that is a relief. And that's the end of today's chapter. I hope you liked the story. I've got another Darcy's Dopey Days in the pipeline. I've got more chapters of Littleland in the pipeline. Now all you guys have to do is sit tight and wait. And there'll be more stuff with you real soon, I promise. I hope you all have a day that feels like sunshine. Bye, everybody.